perfect segue into why this class is so special, because it's really preparing you not just to vote, but it's preparing you to testify and to run. Like I said it last time, we had school board members in this room. I expect you not just to vote, I expect you to run for office. That is the mandate of our founders. It wasn't like, oh, we should vote. It was civic virtue. We all need to put our hat in the ring. While this is for our class, like this is what we do, the most important thing is this is for life. This is for when something is so important to you and you want to get change. And you're going to sit before the people who make the decisions. How can you have the most powerful voice possible? That's what this is all about, right? I want you heard.
Does not affect you. People tend to go by their everyday life, which may not involve politics and or voting.
In the 2018 local election for city council seats in Fairbanks, the voter turnout was a mere 17.2%.
This low voter turnout is not acceptable. Our government can only be truly successful when Americans' political voices are being represented through elected officials they choose themselves. Lowering the voting age to 16 in local elections promotes the importance of participation in government from a young age.
It's just one of many non-citizens who are taxed and governed just like everyone else with no representation in their local elections.
The Borough Assembly right now, are you guys considering putting young people on part of the task force for that?
That's a really good question. We're very much still, the authority still lies with the borough. It's not something that the cities could exercise, but our limit to enforce it has been, our authority to enforce it has been restricted.
If you were born before September 11th, 2001, raise your hand if you were born before September 11th, 2001. 1, 2, 3. This is amazing to me to think that you weren't even born yet. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about, I remember exactly where I was. I remember exactly what I was doing. I lived in Homer. My mother had called me, because we live in New York. They live in New York. My mother called me and said, something's happening in New York. And she told me about a plane crashing into the tower. And she was really surprised, and we didn't know what was happening. And so I turned on the news. So it was something like 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning. It was really early here. And I was watching the news, and everybody on the news was trying to figure out what happened. How could a plane crash? That's so crazy. What was going on? Did a bird fly? Who knew what happened? And as I'm watching the news, another plane comes in to the frame and hits the second tower. And it was at that moment that most Americans, that was at that moment that I knew my country was under attack. And I was terrified. And so it's a very powerful memory for many of us who lived through it. But for you guys, it's history. Even though it hasn't been that official 50 years, it's history. So what we're going to do for the next couple of class periods is I'm going to give you the chance. The objective is for you to learn why and who. Why was there a terrorist attack? Who did it? What was the response? But the most important thing I want you to learn is that each of us are a living history, and that by gathering oral histories, the memories of people who experienced an event, that is a really powerful way to learn history. So you're going to learn the background, and you're going to do some reading and do some basic background of the event, but your assignment with this is going to be to interview somebody who was alive during the attacks of September 11th and who remember. so let's read the background information to provide ourselves context. So it's page, you'll see the second page, it's called Introduction, September 11, 2001. So why? Osama bin Laden, the head of Al-Qaeda, believes because the U.S. has military bases in Saudi Arabia and because of our support of Israel, we are the enemy. We are being imperialistic. We are going to, he believes, take them over, and so let's attack us first. Yes?
He was also upset about the involvement in the Persian Gulf War.
Good. Yes. Osama bin Laden didn't like that the U.S. was involved in the Gulf War against Iraq. Basically, Osama bin Laden doesn't want the U.S. or any Western nations involved, but he doesn't want the U.S. involved in the Middle East. He wants us out.
Dramatic.
Yes, Jaden.
That bin Laden attempt to cast attacks as a religious war between Islam and the United States.
Good, very good. I'm so glad you brought that up. Really good quote to use. So bin Laden tried to make it a holy war between Islam and the U.S. But how did President Bush respond to that?
He was changed to reject bin Laden.
Yeah, he was like, no, we are not at war with a religion. We're at war with a terrorist group.
Yeah.
Summary, you can add more summary if you want, but I really want you thinking about the analysis. What goes on the other side? What are some things that you learn about the people who are on the planes, or the effects, or some of the other causes? Like over here is where you make meaning. You might put founding ideals that are connected to this over here, okay? Questions about what goes on the analysis side? Somebody tell me something you could put on the analysis side. Reagan.
Security in airports.
Okay, good. Example. Security in airports is a result of this. Excellent.